Stage right now at Playhouse in the Park, and it tells the story of Buddy Holly, an early rock and roll pioneer in the 1950s. The Buddy Holly story includes live performances of some of his best known songs. I'm sure that you would recognize them. Andy Christopher, who plays Buddy, joins us right now along with the show's director, Marcia Milgrom Dodge. And thanks to both of you for coming in to talk about this production this morning. Let me start with you.
Okay.
Buddy Holly, as Christopher noted, Buddy Holly's been dead 61 years.
61 years on February 3rd.
So when you put this together, as recognizable as his songs are you aware that there's a whole generation out there who barely keep in touch with what the history of Buddy Holly is?
Yeah.
When you stage this.
Well, it's interesting because we met doing this show about 5 years ago at the Muni in St. Louis. And that was a fast process. We were in the room together for about a week, 10 days.
Process.
And then we developed this new version, which is a cast of 7. And so Andy and I have been closely working together on Buddy Holly, and Andy has a long relationship with this character and with this music. And last summer when we did it in Michigan, we saw audience members up to ages 90 down to ages 13. And it was so exciting because it was generations introducing their next generations to this music because they grew up on it and loved it so much. So that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, and Buddy Holly happened at a time where there was great cultural change happening in our country. That certainly was reflected in the music at that time. He had such a short career.
3 years.
I mean, three years. He punched above his weight.
Yeah.
When you
would say that.
Yeah. When you do these songs, when you see the audience reaction and how even now it still kind of connects with people, what do you think?
It just strikes me every time how short his career was, and like you said, he punched above his weight. It's kind of, you talk to people who worked with Buddy, and I've talked to several of like his backing vocalists, and they all say the same thing. It's kind of like he knew he only had a limited time, and his work ethic was just insane. And he never really got into the heavy rock and roll like everybody else was at the time. And his music shows it. It's still fresh and new today.
And influenced so many people. I mean, Paul McCartney will tell you flat out he stole everything Lennon and McCartney did at the beginning of their careers from Buddy Holly.
I believe it. If you listen to it, I mean, it's right there. You hear it.
There was one day in rehearsal where I think I went, Nowhere Man. Like I heard it in some, and I can't find it again. But
Paul McCartney wrote a letter to Buddy's mom saying the first 45 songs we wrote were complete rip-offs of your son's music.
Right.
And of course, he never gave them the royalties. But
we'll give you credit, but we won't give you the money. So, but this, if I understand right, this is about Buddy specifically, but it's about the people who kind of intersected with his life at the same time.
Yes.
And you have people doing performances to kind of reflect that, right?
So it's it is narrated, his life story, and it leads up to concerts at the end of Act 1 and Act 2. So really, it's an amplified rock and roll concert.
Yeah,
really
it's a concert with some narrative thrown in to give you some context.
Couple of book scenes and
I mean, they made a historic appearance at the Apollo Theater.
Yes.
And that's how the first act ends, with their historic performance at the Apollo. So we also have historical characters in the storytelling of Buddy's story, including Big Bopper, Richie Valens, High Pockets Duncan, who was a DJ, who was a big fan and dear friend of Buddy Holly's. We also introduced Tommy Alsop, who created the fabulous lick in the song It's So Easy. The guitar player who became the fourth Cricket, and then Joe B. Malden and Jerry Allison, who are the Crickets with Buddy Holly.
Well, you can't go wrong.
It's just a win-win rock and roll situation.
Absolutely. It sounds like a fun time.
Yeah.
And thank you both for coming in this morning to talk about Buddy Holly. And once again, the Buddy Holly Stories at Playhouse in the Park. The show runs through February 16th. And for ticket information, just go to local12.com and click on the Get It Now links. And we'll be right back.